Hey guys, and welcome to the broadcast. Real quick, we're going to start this episode off like we did the last one, and we're going to name our winner for our Xbox prize from last episode. This time, I have my wonderful wife here with me again.
Hi.
And what we did, we took all the names off of Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and we printed them out, cut them up, put them in a hat, and we are going to shake that up and pick ourselves a winner. Okay, that's good. See what you got.
Brandon Woods.
Okay, awesome. Well, Brandon Woods, congratulations, sir. You are the winner of our Xbox prize. And make sure to stick around for this episode to try to win a copy of The Last of Us for PlayStation 4. So with that, guys, here we go. Hello and welcome to the show. This is episode 13, bum bum bum, of the
Baker's Dozen
of the Life of Gaming podcast. And this is the final episode of our E3 extravaganza. And today we are talking about PlayStation. And you all heard him already. Well, my name is Jamie, and I am the captain on this cruise of video game awesomeness. And you all heard my co-host already, the Dwight Schrute to my Michael Scott, Mr. Josh Brandt.
Got to throw in that office.
That's right.
Right there. Awesome.
I had to think something off the top of my head.
Dwight.
So. That's right.
Dwight, of all people.
Because you love beats, so that works out pretty well.
That's true. And farming.
Right,
yep,
right.
I lived on a farm, so.
So what have you been up to, Mr. Brandt?
Not much. I found a part of me has been restored recently, so I'm happy about that.
And what is that, sir?
Well, you know the band The Mars Volta?
Sure.
Yeah, they broke up like 2 years ago, and I just, like a couple days ago, found out that they started another band called Antimask or something like that.
Okay.
And, oh my gosh, it's awesome. It's like their older stuff mixed with the progressive craziness,
Awesome.
Their newer stuff, and yeah.
I really thought you were going to bring up the Cavs.
I was really missing. Yeah, that too. Well, that's just been, oh my gosh, I've been dead 1 minute, then alive the next, and just going crazy. It's been an emotional roller coaster.
That's right.
But I think the Warriors are finally on all cylinders, so I'm worried it's going to get ugly the next few games. But we'll find out.
That's right.
We'll see.
That's right. And you guys know, normally we have my brother-in-law Matt on here, but he is actually not going to be here tonight. But filling his place, we have Rob from the Workprint is back. Rob, how you doing, sir?
Hello? What's going on, guys?
Well, thank you for joining us, man. I hope you're happy to be here and don't feel forced.
No,
he
it's all right.
held a gun to his head.
No, the days of begging to be on wasn't that bad.
Right. I mean, all the money, it went in my bank account just fine, so we are good.
Oh, good. I need the exposure, guys.
That's right. So what have you been up to, man?
No, same old. Yeah, actually, with the site, I've been putting up more content. When I first came on here, episode 8,
yeah,
the video portion of it and my YouTube channel, youtube.com/sunnyvice20, wasn't that filled out. It kind of looked like, I don't know, like a 6th grade craft project or something like that.
and now it's like a 7th grade craft project. So.
Yeah. Now I've got some more content up there, some more videos. Good. You actually did one with me. We did a Wolfenstein Let's Play video.
Yep.
And besides that, same old writing reviews over at theworkprint.com.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, as you know, with this show, we like to bring on new guests so you get to know the creator behind the content. And this week, we are actually bringing on Eric from We the Nerdy and the Press Square podcast. How you doing today, sir?
It's the Press Circle podcast, Jamie.
James.
I didn't even said one word. You already
messed it up
man.
Already. And he's gone.
Goodbye, Eric.
Oh, see you later,
guys. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Sorry
that's why
that,
I pimp all my own content. I don't let him say any of my stuff because he'll mess it up on purpose.
I'll do my own plugs. Thank you very much.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, guys. I'm excited.
Well, let the audience get to know you a little bit before we get to the press circle stuff.
There you go.
Let's know a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Like Rob, we just discovered we have in common. I'm also an attorney doing entertainment law, so the video game writing kind of stuff is a little bit on the side. Working in music and living in Manhattan. Been gaming for pretty much my entire life, and it's always been a big passion of mine. So I guess that's why I'm here.
Awesome.
Outside of gaming, if I have to name a few hobbies, I'm a big karaoke enthusiast. That's probably my biggest hobby outside of video games. 3-time competitive karaoke champion. If I can just put that out there.
Oh, heck yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's one of my bigger accomplishments.
Well, great. Well, tell us a little bit about what you're doing on We the Nerdy and with the podcast.
Sure. So I joined We the Nerdy a couple months back, probably 5 or 6 months back. Saw our great editor-in-chief, Andrew Sembachek, post something about, looking for writers, and I had done some writing on my own personal blog in law school, which I call Poposaurus Rex. It was kind of a pop culture entertainment blog, but it ended up being mostly about video games towards the end, so I kind of figured that was what I should be doing. I had been writing for them for a while, and there was an availability to add a podcast to the mix, and I kind of jumped on the opportunity. I'm a big PlayStation fan, and big fan of a lot of other PlayStation podcasts. So I figured I'd bring some friends in,
awesome.
and get that going. And it's been a blast so far.
Awesome. And
the question is, do you own a Vita?
I do own a Vita.
Hey.
I'm a very proud Vita owner.
Good.
Yes.
So
I just bought like one of those trigger grips, like the holsters for the Vita, so it's easier to hold, and
awesome.
some touchscreen buttons to go on the back, because that back touch is so fiddly, which is supposedly they help out with remote play a lot. So I'm very excited about that, upgrading my Vita.
That's a good idea.
Oh, man, you are not going to like my predictions when we get to that part of the show. Oh, man. Well, hey, man, like I said, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And with that, guys, we can get into our news section and what we call Captain's Log. Okay, guys, real quick, we'll hop off with our news section with PlayStation. Although there is a lot of leaks and spoilers flying around, so instead of just cramming this section full of all sorts of news, I just kind of cherry-picked a few different news stories here. On PlayStation, the big rumor that's going around right now, that's been going around for years, is that The Last Guardian will be showing up on Monday. So I guess, Eric, we'll go to you, man. I mean, The Last Guardian, it's been shown for I forget how many years now. Is that something that's even on your radar anymore?
So this is kind of a sad admission. I've never actually played Ico or Shadow of the Colossus. So
You're
I don't
a
have
Sony man. I'm just kidding.
I don't know how I missed those games. Like, I guess during the PS2 era, I just didn't catch them. So Team Ico's like never really been something I've been craving. But if I had to register a prediction, which I know we're doing later in the show, I don't know. I feel like we're actually going to see it this time. I mean, it sounds like Mark Cerny's working on it now. Like, that's very believable. Mm-hmm. I buy that, knowing his background and the types of games he's worked on. What it might look like, because all we've really seen of it was this CG trailer 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's beyond me.
And Brant knows how I feel about the whole Team Ico, because my experience with that, he had brought over, Shadow of the Colossus. He's like, yo, you gotta check this game out. This game is so awesome. And I was playing it, and like the camera and stuff in that game, I was so frustrated. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't control the camera. Like, it was not a good experience for me.
Yeah, you with your waggle remote.
Right, sure.
Controllers. Well, go back to that.
Sure. Well, what about you, Brant? I mean, is Last Guardian still on your radar?
There's just been so much speculation that sort of just, when I hear it officially, then I'll really get excited. But until that time, I'm hoping it's at the C3, but until that time, I'm just going to, sort of put it in that Half-Life 3, like, in developmental limbo, or not even being formed. Right. But that'd be really awesome to hear something about it.
Well, what was that? Duke Nukem Forever? Is that what that game was called? That took, like, all those years and finally released, and it was terrible?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it might pull one of those.
Let's hope not.
Right. Well, Rob, what about you, man?
So I actually didn't have a PlayStation 2 during that era.
Okay.
And so my only exposure to Team Ico was the Shadow of Colossus remaster they did from PS3.
Mm-hmm.
And I played like 25 minutes when one of my buddies was like, "Oh, this game's so good," and it was garbage.
Oh my gosh!
It controlled horribly.
Are you talking about Eco or Shadow of Colossus?
No, Shadow of Colossus.
Okay.
He's like it controlled horribly, and I couldn't get into it. This is where people stop listening to the podcast.
Right. Now I will say though, I actually liked Ico. I actually liked that game. I played that on the remastered version. I never got back around to even touching Shadow of the Colossus again though.
Here's the thing though, is that because it has been teased for so long, I am at least curious about what ends up happening. And I forgot to mention when you asked what's new, I actually bought a PS4 since the last time we talked. So
Wow.
yeah,
So-
bought a PS4.
Awesome.
Bought a PS4.
Awesome.
Grew a beard. I'm basically trying to take Brandt's spot on this podcast.
Oh, that's your plan.
That's the master plan all along. Well, looking at the rest of my PlayStation news here, I'm trying to stick away from any kind of leaks or spoilers, anything like that. The only other thing I can really pick off my list here was Street Fighter V. They said they're going to show at this year's E3, but they said that it will never be on any system but the PlayStation system. So, I mean, do you think that is really going to give them any kind of edge? Like with Street Fighter V, last time I heard they were having some issues with it, like running or something like that. I'm just trying to think where I'm going with this.
The issues...
it was all...
Sure, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
Now, I was just going to say, for the new Street Fighter 4 that they released for the PS4, I think that's the one that you're talking about, where they're having all these issues. And
Got it. Okay.
And it's only console exclusive. It's not technically platform exclusive because it is coming to PC.
Sure.
So that's true.
Sure. But anytime they say exclusive anymore, it means, one hooked up to your TV and then everything else is coming to PC, and wherever else, and Mac, and sometimes come to smartphones and tablets too. But sorry, go
I
ahead.
was going to ask, are any of you guys fighting game fans?
For me, I'm very particular on what I play. Like, I really enjoy Mortal Kombat, Dead or Alive, and Smash Brothers, and more of the arcadey stuff. But when it comes down to more competitive, I get my butt kicked every time.
Totally.
So
I'm not. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm not great at them, but I do play all of them. I do enjoy. I even play some of the Blaze Blue and some of the Arc System ones.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean I don't. Like I said, I'm absolutely terrible at them. But they're great just when you have friends over, just being able to pop it on, and it's one of those things that anybody can pick up and mash buttons. So it's a good time when you have buddies over.
Yeah.
Those games are pretty.
They totally are. The hand-drawn ones.
Oh yeah, Blaze Blue. That's a really good looking game. I totally forgot about Blaze Blue, man. That's a really fun fighting game. But like I said, anytime I go online, I just know I won't stand it. As long as I play online when it first comes out, I'll do okay. But if I wait a little bit of time, like a week or two, and then try to hop on, I don't even stand a chance.
That I don't even bother. Hence me saying when my friends come over, I won't even bother going online.
Right.
Right. You invite your non-gaming friends over and beat them in fighting games. That's how you enjoy
hold this
fighting
controller
games
and push
these
these buttons.
Hey, Mom, check this out. I just got it.
Right.
And then you're like,
Fatality.
Mom, how did you beat me?
Listen, I told you that in confidence,
right.
and you just put it on blast on the podcast.
Right.
I see how you treat your guests.
That's right. Well, you're returning, so that's allowed.
You see what you get to look forward to, Eric?
I'll think about that one when I get asked back.
He's like, I'm never coming back again. But with the other big thing with Microsoft right now, besides them, not getting Street Fighter, Oculus Rift, they had their kind of, not really, I guess it would be a conference, not really an E3 conference, where they came out and sort of introduced the final version of the Oculus Rift, what it'll look like. But they said that they're going to do a deal with Microsoft where it will run through Windows 10, and every Oculus Rift will come with an Xbox One controller. They also said it will work with the Xbox One. It will run, as of right now, it's going to run with Halo 5, the new Forza, and Sunset Overdrive. Do any of you guys have any interest in the whole VR thing that's happening now? What about you, Eric? I guess we'll start with you.
I mean, I have major interest in VR, but before getting into that, have you seen the way the Xbox One and the Oculus integrate the way they demoed it after the press conference?
No, I didn't. I just read kind of like the Cliff Notes afterwards.
So the way, I mean, to be clear, when I first read that news, I was like, that's it. Morpheus is done.
Sure.
Everyone knows what Oculus is. But then they actually showed it, and what it is it's actually just streaming the image of the game. It's like you put on the headset and you're sitting in a virtual living room and you're playing the game on a virtual screen in front of you. So it's not 3D integrated. It's not integrated with head tracking. I mean, you can look left and you see the virtual room that you're in, but it's not fully integrated. So I think it sounds a little scarier to Sony fans than it really is. But
wow, well, that's really disappointing.
I mean,
who knows? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I still think it's pretty exciting. It's one of those things where you have it it's basically remote play, so that if the TV's being hogged and you have a PC that's able to stream, I mean, it doesn't require much, to stream the games. Although I guess it requires more to actually run an Oculus Rift consumer unit. But if you have a PC, then you're basically in your own private movie theater, right? Because that's how the way they demoed it. You're in your own private movie theater, so you have this giant screen, right? And you're playing your game, and your TV is still free. So, I mean, look, I'm a guy who I buy most of my consoles at launch. I bought a 3D TV. I love gimmicks, especially tech gimmicks. So I'm all for this.
That's why you love this podcast. You love gimmicks, right?
Yeah, I mean, this podcast is literally one big gimmick.
Right.
Wow.
It's bringing guests on.
Right.
And then every other week, it's Brandt's beard. Those are the two gimmicks of this podcast.
That's right.
It grows and grows, gentlemen.
That's right. And where it stops, nobody knows.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, sir.
I didn't read much about this news. So you still need a PC to run the Oculus Rift if you're playing it through the Xbox One. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the way it works.
Okay.
Yeah. So the way it works is that when Windows 10 comes out, the Xbox app on Windows 10 allows you to stream your games to a Windows 10 PC.
Right.
And so what the Oculus Rift will then do is take that same app, right, run it to the Oculus Rift, and it'll be as if you're in a virtual. So yes, you do still need a PC, and you're going to need a PC that's at least mid-tier.
That's powerful.
High tier. I mean, exactly. They haven't exactly stated exactly what the PC requirement is going to be to run an Oculus Rift. I mean, the streaming of the Xbox game itself is going to be pretty light because it is just streaming. All the process still being done on the console itself.
Yeah.
Right.
But
that's just bandwidth.
As far as right, exactly. So you're also going to need a decent internet connection. So
Brant, that means none of this will work for us.
Right.
I might, yeah.
Well, hey, Brant, just curious. Do you have any? I mean, even if your PC could run it, would you have any interest in the VR stuff at all? Even for PlayStation?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely interested in it, but we're going to talk about this later. But Project Morpheus definitely has my interest the most.
Oh yeah,
because I think it's the most accessible. But yeah, I mean, I like that they're advertising this unit for the hardcore. You have to have these PC requirements. I think that's going to help in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the rest of the Xbox news, I'm looking through what I have, and a lot of it I feel like if we talk about now, a lot of it's going to get revealed on Monday. So I'm just going to sort of jump through a little bit of this here. With Nintendo, Splatoon. I know we talk about Splatoon every single week. You probably don't like
that and Amiibos.
That's right. Brand's two favorite topics.
Yes.
But they actually released a new DLC. They had a new map called the Kelp Dome that came out, and they also had a new weapon come out. So if you turn that on sometime soon, it will get that new update, and you'll be able to play online these new maps. So definitely check that out. The other thing, the 3DS has passed over 52 million units worldwide. 15 million of those are in the U.S. So even though people say handheld gaming is dead, people are still buying these handhelds. Even the Vita. I mean, the Vita isn't selling like the 3DS, but people are still buying the Vita. Because I know we were talking before the show. Eric, you're enjoying your Vita, right? And I mean, Brant, you've got yours.
I'm enjoying both my Vita and my 3DS.
That's right. You love all systems, right?
I'm equal opportunities.
That's right.
Except for Microsoft. No, just kidding.
That's why it's the PlayStation show.
James.
Hey, wait, but Rob, you have an Xbox One. But I mean, me and you are the only Xbox One people here, right?
Right. I mean, I have everything. I have the Wii U, Xbox One, 3DS, PlayStation Vita. I actually started playing my Vita again for the first time in like 6 months because I got the PS4.
Yeah.
I was doing a little remote play. But I'll talk more about that later.
Sure.
The real question is, should I go out and get Splatoon, because I'm like very on the fence about it.
Oh man, I'm loving it. I absolutely love the game a lot. It depends on what kind of games do you like playing, because it's kind of an arena shooter, but it's not about taking people out. It's about who can cover the most territory.
Sure. And my concern with getting Splatoon is that like for those types of games, I love to play with people I know, and I don't have now I know you guys, so I have to add you on my Wii U,
right.
because otherwise I have no people who I know who own Wii U's. But we couldn't even matchmake anyway, right? Not yet. They
you can't.
The private matchmaking.
Sure. Well, actually, you can, like, if you're on playing Splatoon and I hop online, there's a button that says Join Friends, and if I click it, it'll throw me into the next match that you have available. But it throws us out randomly if we're going to be on a team or not. That's completely random, because after every round, all the teams scramble. So you don't know if you're going to be on the same team or not. And there's no voice chat, which some people have a problem with. But every time I play, like my brother-in-law and friends and things like that, we always just Skype anyway. It's not really an issue for us. But I know some people that can be a problem.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal when you and I played.
Yeah.
We just went on Skype. And the not getting matched on the same team is kind of annoying, but honestly it's one of those things where like you were excited when you were on the team and then you felt satisfied when my team constantly beat Jamie.
Sure.
Then you get to kick your friend's ass, so maybe that's
sure hilarious, sir.
Well, I bet once the private like group matchmaking gets implemented, whoever's actually playing together on Skype is going to have such an advantage over the other teams who aren't communicating with each other.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, there's little things in the game that they're probably going to fix along the way. One thing a lot of people want, in between matches, you can't change your loadout. So you might see what map is coming, and you think, oh, I need like a sniper rifle for this, or oh, I want the roller, or like whatever you want to use. And the only way you can change your weapon is to totally back out of the multiplayer, change it, and then jump back in, but your friend has already started another match, so you have to wait for that match to end before you can actually get back in the game. Like, it's kind of a hassle. So hopefully they can fix it. I mean, just a lot of little things, because they have DLC planned all the way through August. So they've been pretty good about it, too, because just about every other week or so, they're adding new maps, new weapons. They added the ranked multiplayer, which is actually more of kind of like a King of the Hill match, where you actually have to control one spot of the map for a certain amount of time. So it's actually pretty cool.
And this has been Splat Chat,
our
new podcast about Splatoon. Thank you guys for joining us.
Right. And Brand, what do you have to say?
I love my Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
See, I played that too, Brant, and I really like that game as well. It seems similar to me, so good to know.
Although, guys, I know we're talking about PlayStation right now, but they did have a tease that they're going to show off the new Plants vs. Zombies on the Xbox conference. So people are thinking it's going to be timed exclusive like the first one was.
Oh, no.
I'm really excited about that. I loved Plants vs. Zombies.
That's a really fun game.
It's one of the first games I played when I got the console at launch. So
that game is awesome.
Yeah, I was very surprised pleasantly by how much I enjoyed that game. Just so wacky.
And Brant, I know you like it because you can play it with your kids and stuff.
That's the best part. Yeah. My son, he loves that game. We have to restrict him from playing that and Minecraft.
That's right. Son, you played enough Minecraft. Now get back to Bloodborne.
Good God.
Good child entertainment.
I don't want to know that child when he's older.
Oh,
Daddy,
dude.
I have nightmares.
Go back to sleep. Oh, dude. But real quick, just to hop into some multi-console stuff. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, that Kickstarter that was being done by the creator of Castlevania, has become the highest Kickstarter video game of all time. I forget. I think it's at like about 5 million right now. It's made so much money. I considered kickstarting it. I went on there, and I was looking at the different packages you can get, and it says being released March of 2017. I'm like, oh, I'll wait. Because when you kickstart something, you got to wait like a year and a half to you're ever going to play it.
At least with this one, it's a good bet that it's going to come out. I mean, there's been so many kickstarting games that just like sit in limbo, and then you never know what's going to happen.
Sure, and what's happening with Kickstarter now? It's like developers who have left their the companies that made them famous, and now they're starting their own stuff. Because we had Mighty Number 9's coming out too, that just kickstarted. Now we've got this getting kickstarted. We've got Ukulele kickstarted. It's become a place where people just sort of pre-order their games from their favorite developers.
Yeah, but more than that, it's become a place or a haven for developers to create games that most big publishers are saying people don't want anymore, which isn't true, as you can tell by these Kickstarter numbers. I mean, 3D platformers were dead, and now because of Ukulele, you hear about all these other ones coming back. I mean, that Ratchet and Clank trailer looks amazing.
Yeah.
And then you got your 2D side scrollers in the vein of this Bloodstain and in the vein of Mighty Number 9 and stuff like that. And then adventure games. I mean, Double Fine. I mean, Telltale was doing what they were doing, but Double Fine has brought back the adventure game genre with their Kickstarter.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
It's showing. It's given us more power. I don't like to kickstart things. I don't like the idea of giving money up front without like seeing a finished product first. But I do like what it's showing and the voice it is giving to the people who support these games.
Sure.
I think it's a good move. I think it's been a great movement so far.
What about you, Brant? I mean, are you a fan of Castlevania? Do you play those games, or used to play those games?
Siphon filter.
What are you?
Where was my head in?
Castlevania siphon filter.
Symphony.
Is that going to announce at E3 this year?
I would play that game. I would pre-order that game in a heartbeat.
That's actually a good idea.
There you go.
You know what happened? Brant just leaked one of his predictions.
Right.
Right.
I'm so excited about siphon filter.
Right.
Yeah, that game. I actually played that like a few weeks ago for the first time, and it's just like Super Metroid. I mean, just the exploration and the combat and the RPG elements. I mean, it was just a perfect mesh of everything. And so I'm really looking forward to this. I just I'm glad it's coming to Vita too.
Awesome. Yes, it's pretty much coming.
Speaking of Vita, Brant, did you play Symphony of the Night on your Vita?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I did.
Exactly.
I just did too. I just played it. I played it before, but I just replayed it on my Vita. So amazing to play the classic PlayStation games on the Vita. That's like its best feature, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you there.
Sharing that Vita love.
This has been
get
Vita
it whenever it comes. Yeah.
Hey, Brant. Now that you've got your Bloodborne and you got your Witcher, now what is the next game you are super excited for?
Dark Souls 3.
That is right. Because on our last podcast, you said it's maybe coming. Well, they actually announced that it is coming in 2016. And they actually released a little bit of details on it. Actually, a whole page of information. I'll just hit some key points here. They said it's going to be 1 to 4 player. Now, how that's going to work, I'm not really sure if it's going to be like actual co-op or if it's going to be more like the other Dark Souls games where people just sort of, invade each other's games, kind of help each other out. They said there are going to be 10 different classes. There's going to be 45 new enemies, 15 new bosses, over 100 new weapons, 40 new armor sets, and 12 different areas to explore. So, Brant, does this sound up your alley or what?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the only concern I have, I hope that they don't overdo it, but I trust From Software so much that I don't think that they would screw it up in any capacity. The screenshots, if you check them out, are actually really awesome, and there's you're in this field with all these ghost swords in the ground, and then some of the enemies, there's this huge arachnid mouse thing or something. I mean, they just think of but it looks really cool. It doesn't look corny. I mean, some of the things they think of
a giant spider mouse.
Amazing.
That's not corny at all.
You just have to check out the pictures.
Right. Does the giant spider mouse have the ghost swords in his hands? He's flinging them around. Is that what's going on?
No.
Oh man. Well, what about you, Eric? Do you have any excitement for the Dark Souls series?
So I was a Dark Souls virgin until I played. Well, I guess I still am because I only played Bloodborne. But I like am enamored with that game and fell in love with it, as I know a lot of people did. So I'm definitely looking forward to Dark Souls 3. I kind of want to go back and play Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, but I think I need like a refrain after playing Bloodborne, and now I'm playing The Witcher, which is kind of like draining in a very different way. So
exactly.
That's like going to be something. If I ever do get around to playing that, that'll be way in the future. But no, I'm like a convert, so I'm definitely looking forward to Dark Souls 3.
Awesome. Yeah, Dark Souls is definitely a series I've been wanting to get into, and now that they have, Dark Souls 2 remastered on Xbox One, I've been looking to jump into it. A lot of the combat, from what I've heard at least, it reminds me a lot of Monster Hunter, just in the fact that you kind of have to learn your enemy. It's a lot about dodging and, and just attacking at the right time and knowing how long your attacks take and things like that. It sounds like it would be a game I would really enjoy. So hopefully
it's very deliberate.
Yeah, so hopefully...
Like you have to have patience.
Yeah. Which we all know Brant has, right?
As I throw my controller.
That's right.
Second TV.
Oh, man. Well, what about you, Rob? Do you play Dark Souls at all?
So I actually mentioned it on episode 8 of this podcast when I was on here. So I tried playing Dark Souls 2, and I put in like 4.5 hours into Dark Souls 2, and I got to the first camp area.
And you gave up.
The combat was fine. Honestly, the combat was deliberate. It took some thinking. I really liked the combat a lot. My complaint was that once I got to that area, I had no idea where I was going. I mean, there's no direction at all in those games, which some people love. But with so many games coming out, and as us all being working individuals know, time is a commodity. So when being that lost. Granted, I had my tablet next to me with a walkthrough, and I still had no idea where to go. I was completely lost. So I gave up. I really want to play Bloodborne now that I have the PS4, because that seems to be a little bit more guided.
Yeah, I would go to that.
Yeah. With that same,
it's definitely more.
combat.
It's definitely more like corridor. There are some like branching paths, but it's not totally open. It's pretty easy to know where you're gonna have to go in general.
Right, so that I want to give a shot, because I do like a challenge. I mean, most of us come from a generation where games were absolutely brutal.
Sure.
So I do like the challenge. I do like the way the combat's set up. My problem with the Dark Souls series was just the obtuseness of it.
Well, I mean, if you like games that are all about, guiding and hand-holding, just make sure you play The Order, now that you have that PS4.
So, spoilers, but I actually, because I'm a sucker for collector's editions,
oh, no!
which is the theme of that podcast, is since I got a PS4, it just means I get to buy more collector's editions now.
Right.
And I should arrive tomorrow, The Order 1886 premium edition.
Wow.
Yeah. Dude, that's so funny.
I heard nothing but lukewarm to bad things about that game, but I was like, oh, that statue looks pretty good.
Well, I mean, it's probably a game you would enjoy if you got it for like $20 or $30. So spending like $120 or $30 on it probably was the right move.
Come on. You think I would spend $120 on The Order?
It was 119.
It was 100. It was 100. Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Also, thank God my wife doesn't listen to this podcast.
Right.
Where does all that money
dude,
go
that's
to?
so funny, man. Well, congratulations on your new purchase.
Thank you. There will be a video at youtube.com/SunnyVice20 very soon with the unboxing.
The whole thing will be him playing like, why'd I buy this? Why'd I buy this?
I've actually got something special lined up for that video. It should be good stuff.
Awesome. Well, real quick, just to get out of our news section, we always hit our deals in the section we call My Two Cents. And real quick, with E3 right around the corner, I know a lot of you are going to be wanting to pick up some new systems. Right now, over at Walmart, for $400, you can get a PS4 with The Last of Us and an extra controller. Or you can actually add another $10 onto that. So for $410, you can get The Witcher 3. So, get that instead. So, it depends on what you want to play. The Last of Us or Witcher 3. I know they have kind of a different feel. But over at Amazon, you can get a PS4, The Last of Us bundle, and the Handsome collection with that. So if you haven't played Borderlands yet or the pre-sequel, you can get both of those together for $400. For the Xbox right now, for $350, you can get an Xbox One with the Master Chief Collection and extra controller over at Walmart. And then over at Best Buy, if you want to get some Xbox Gold to go along with that, they are doing $20 off Xbox Gold if you buy your Xbox One at Best Buy. And then for Nintendo, there's not really a lot because Nintendo never has sales. But right now over at Best Buy, they're doing that special Splatoon bundle, which gives you the 32 gig Wii U. That's right, 32 gigs. With Nintendo Land, you get Splatoon with it, and that's for $300. Or for $220, if you're looking for a new 3DS XL, you can get that with Smash Brothers and your choice of Amiibo over at Walmart. So I had to throw the Amiibo in there for Brant because we know how much he loves those.
Do you guys all have new 3DSs by chance?
No, I have the old 3DS XL.
Yeah, I have
Okay.
the 3DS.
See,
3DS
I'm the only
XL
one here
as
with
well.
the new 3DS XL, so I had to get
Is
that.
it
I had to get the
worth-
Monster Hunter one, man.
Yeah, is it worth like updating to that, or even just if you're a new purchaser getting a new 3DS?
Well, the new.
So-
oh, sorry, go ahead, man.
No, I was gonna say, I actually tried it out in store, and the eye tracking is fantastic.
It's
on the
awesome.
3D,
It's
on
really
the new
good.
3DS. I mean, I never play with it on mine, but I actually really enjoyed it on the demo unit. But that nub that they added is really bad.
It's not that. It's not great.
Gets the job done.
It gets the job done. Yeah,
At least.
if you're using it for just like minor camera movements, like in Monster Hunter or Majora's Mask or something like that, it's not bad. But it would absolutely not work at all if you had like a twin stick shooter or something like that. Never work because it's very stiff. So I mean,
That's that Stockholm syndrome kicking in.
So it depends on what you want because you're gonna pay a little extra more, a little more for it. But like Rob was saying, the 3D on it is absolutely awesome, and it's a lot faster too. So your load time is gonna be a lot faster. Downloading things is a lot faster. It just depends on what you want to do with it. Because as of right now, the only new 3DS exclusive on the system is Xenoblade Chronicles. They also said when Binding of Isaac comes to 3DS, I guess it's coming out in a couple months, that's going to be a new 3DS exclusive. And I don't know if Hyrule Warriors that they just announced if that's going to be a new 3DS exclusive.
I'm sure Nintendo at their conference will probably have some game announcements for it.
Sure.
Exclusively.
Sure. And this is going to be more kind of like the DSi or something like that, where it's just that very last push to sell a few more systems before they bring out whatever. Or they might not bring out anything at all. They might just switch over to mobile, with phones and things like that. Who knows?
I would actually say if you're buying for the first time to just go ahead and spend that extra money because the eye tracking really is that good. But if you've already got one, I don't think it's worth upgrading. If I didn't have one, I would have gotten the new 3DS. But if you've already got one, I don't think it's worth upgrading.
Yeah, for me, it's for one game. I mean, I would love to play Xenoblade Chronicles on the go. That would be amazing, but it's not worth the money just for that one game. Maybe in a year or two, if that exclusive library is built up and it really becomes something impressive. But it makes me wish that I hadn't owned a 3DS yet and that I was buying it for the first time. But I definitely agree that I'm not willing to spend the money right now.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. I wish I hadn't bought mine yet. And the funny thing is, I bought mine like a week before.
Why would you do that?
Of course.
Yeah.
So Brant, I guess the short of it, just if you're buying a new one, because you used to have one and you sold it, right?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Early, not enough games, and now
Dude,
all these
there's so
awesome
many good
games
games
are
out.
out. I know, now there's so many good games.
Yeah, there's a lot of good games. And real quick, before we get away from the My 2 Cents section of this podcast, some of these deals are okay, but I would not recommend buying anything until after Monday.
Sure.
Because
Exactly.
I mean, there's the rumors of the new models of the PS4 and Xbox One coming out with the 1 terabyte hard drives. Even if they don't drop the price on the other consoles, which Microsoft has already said that they're keeping the $350 price for the 500 gig. Retailers are going to be having amazing trade-in sales to clear out the stock of the older models and also just to try to promote the newer models. So, like, for example, the only reason I got a PS4 is because a couple of weeks back, Best Buy had this amazing deal where I ended up paying $35 out of pocket for my PS4. So I would hold off until after Monday, Tuesday to see what kind of sales,
What was that deal? Did you mortgage your house to them or something?
No, I just gave up custody of my youngest child. But I'm Puerto Rican, so we have a lot of those. So they're an easy commodity.
Next
I
one up.
Honestly, in 9 months I'll have another one. It's not a big deal.
Gosh.
You sick man.
Well, one more thing to talk about on here. The summer Steam sales have started. So check that out if you play PC games, because they have a lot of daily deals. There are these 12-hour flash sales, so there's always new stuff up there. So make sure to check that out. But real quick, guys, before we get into our topic of the week, we sort of talk about what we've been playing lately. So I guess, Brant, let's start with you, man. What have you been playing lately?
I'm still plowing through that Witcher 3.
Still enjoying it, though, right?
I'm still... Yeah, and Eric, when I was listening to your podcast, you guys did an awesome job of talking about the pros and cons of the game.
Thank you, sir. I took that right from the Jimmy Fallon show.
Yes, but I agree with almost everything you said. I mean, the alchemy and all that, I mean, it's almost too much in a way with the interface, how it is. And
right.
The more I play it, it's just, I don't know, I'm finding that I'm just not into open world games as much as I used to be. And that's why I've been going back to Bloodborne on New Game Plus too. I've been sort of going in between the two, and I'm just, every time I just thinking, man, I want to get back to Bloodborne again for some reason. But it is a great game, and it's just not for everybody, I think.
Sure. Well, what about you, Eric? I mean, is Witcher 3 mainly what you've been playing lately?
Yeah, Witcher 3 is my main game right now, and I think I can't not make it that, because if I don't focus all my attention on that game, there's no way I'm going to make any sort of progress in it. My co-host on Press Circle was saying how he's not gotten far at all because he only has half hour at a time to play games the past couple of weeks, and this is not a game you can just sit down and play for a half hour. You're not going to make any progress. You're going to talk to one person. You're going to get sidetracked by some sort of flower or house in the distance that you need to go see, and then you got to go. So I'm trying to get in as many big chunk play sessions as I can, so I can make some real progress. But I'm still very much enjoying it. I'm surprised constantly by what the new story missions are asking me to do and what they entail, which is good, because sometimes with an open world game they can kind of start to feel very repetitive. Sometimes the structure's a little bit repetitive, but the actual context and what you end up doing, where you end up going, it's all very varied. I still haven't spent time wandering around because I feel like I'm just gonna get lost and I'm not gonna make any progress. So I have to set some time to do that, because I feel like that's really where the real amazing enjoyment and the emergent gameplay comes from. It's just wandering off and finding something cool in the distance. But
sure.
I mean, I'm planning to get Batman when it comes out, but I can't foresee myself finishing The Witcher by then, so I don't know what to do. I can't not get Batman day one. I'm that kind of guy, so
sure. Well, with The Witcher, how long are your play sessions? Because you said you have to sit down for a good amount of time and to sink your teeth into that game to make any progress.
I mean, ideally, you get 2 or 3 hours. I mean,
sure.
Over the last weekend, I probably had a couple sessions like that. But during the weeknights, I mean, I'm lucky if I can play an hour or two. And at that point, it's like I said, you maybe progress your way halfway through a quest. There's so much, there's a lot of dialogue, and it's just, you don't feel like you're really making progress until you can see a quest from beginning to end. And they branch too. That's the other thing about The Witcher, is that the quests really, you think something's over, and then as soon as you finish, a new thing will pop up that there's a whole new quest line tied to that, topic. So it's like a never-ending tunnel.
The main problem I have with it is just the leveling up system. It doesn't seem like there's enough reward or something. Something's missing in that regard. Maybe I just need to play more of the story missions, because I'm ADD and have to get every question mark and go around the map. And maybe I'm doing something wrong.
You're playing it wrong.
Feel like I'm leveling up.
The rewards for the side stuff is substantially lower than the main stuff. I leveled up so much by doing the main story, and then was able to go and do a lot of side stuff that was maybe just a little bit lower than my level now, and I found that to be a good way to do it. But it is at first I found it to be very slow going, and I was kind of put off. But I think I've hit my stride. Also, whether or not you're leveling up, there's so many of those places of power you can find that I have so many skill points I can't even use anyway at this point that I don't have room for. So what's even the point?
True, that's true.
Well, Rob, what have you been up to? Has it been The Witcher as well?
Okay, so if you remember the last episode, I'm a freak of nature, and I play.
That's right.
Definitely have undiagnosed ADD, so I'm playing a million games at once. So I'll just go console by console, actually, because that'll probably be easier for me to separate in my head.
Okay,
so
guys, here you fast forward about 20 minutes.
Oh, no. Just like 19 and a half would probably be good. So I started playing my Vita again now that I got the PS4. I tried out some of the remote play functionality, and it works pretty well, actually surprisingly well. I was playing some Towerfall Ascension in bed. I also played the 2 PlayStation Plus games. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I know one is like Super
Metal Gear
Exploding
Solid?
Zoo.
No, you're
on
talking
the
about
Vita.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Super Exploding Zoo and
Is it Race the Sun?
no, it's like
that was last
Iridium.
month.
That was last month. It was like Iridium LP or it's something LP.
that
That's
Racer.
right. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and so I did not enjoy either of those. And, what I've actually been doing a lot of is the Vita has one of those free to play endless runner games on there. It's like Run Sackboy Run or something like that, and that is actually really good. Like I've been just laying in bed at night, with my wife snoring and just playing some of that.
Honey, don't listen to this.
She doesn't hear this. I can say whatever I want, to be honest. And I've been playing some of that, and I've actually really been enjoying it. And then now that I've got the PS4, I've been playing some of that. I had some PlayStation Plus games that I was adding to my account, even though I didn't have a PS4, just so I could get back to them. I tried. What was the one from last month that's like that first-person adventure game where you start off in like a lab or something like that? I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
Ether 1? Is that what it is? Something like
Ether
that.
1.
Ether
Yes,
1.
Ether
Yeah.
1. Yeah. So I played a little bit of that. That seems interesting, but it's slow going to start off.
Very slow.
Yeah, I played some Towerfall Ascension, which is awesome. I even played with some friends over.
That's another one. Yeah, that's surprisingly good.
It's really good, especially if you got friends over, play local versus. It's a blast. I also played Resogun. Resogun's fantastic. I mean, I love all Housemarque does is make fantastic games. So that's been good.
Yeah.
I got Killzone Shadowfall since I'm trying to go back to some of the games that I actually want to play. It's not bad. It's a beautiful game. I like that they moved away from their dark like browns and black palettes, and they had a weird like dark blue palette in the original Killzone games. It was mostly grays and dark blues actually. Now that I think about it, this is brighter. It's cleaner. There's a weird like the way the characters are animated when they talk. They look like hand puppets where their jaws just move up and down.
Sure.
So that's been bothering me a little bit, but besides that,
like the Canadian people on South Park, right?
Well, yeah, not as extreme, but yeah. But that's been pretty good. It's also nice that like I got it for like $20 off Amazon, or actually Best Buy. I think when Gamers Club's Unlocked, it cost me like $16. So
and all the extra money went straight to the order, so you're good.
I know. And so I've been playing some of that, and it's not bad. Then on the Xbox, I just finished Wolfenstein finally because I had put it away for a little after we did our Let's Play video, youtube.com/SonyVice20. So I finished that literally right before we started recording this. When you sent me a message saying that to get on Skype, I had just finished the final level, the final boss. That was fantastic. I love this new Wolfenstein. I mean, I love everything that Machine Games is doing.
I gotta find time to play that game.
It's really good. I mean, it's more of the same. It's more Wolfenstein.
Well, hey, Eric, did you play New Order?
New Order?
No, I haven't played any of it. That one totally missed me.
Okay.
Check
it out,
I highly
man.
recommend it.
It's really good.
I mean, it was the surprise of the year for me, for sure.
Yeah, for a lot of people, I think.
And I'm also playing The Witcher. I put in
more Witcher love.
I put in my review came out about a week ago at theworkprint.com. That's theworkprint.com. I don't care, man. I'll shill all day.
Oh my God.
I don't think I plugged myself enough on this show yet.
No, definitely. Listen, my father was a used car salesman, I am all about shilling. I put in like
I'm just gonna go in there and put beep every time he's
yeah, that's fine. I see how it is. So actually, if you go to theworkprint.com, you can actually see Jamie's review for Splatoon, which I'll get to in 2 minutes. Let me just finish with Witcher.
Okay, hurry up.
I blitzed. I like crammed 60 hours because we actually got a review code from one of the PR firm for CD Projekt Red, And so I put in like 60 hours as quick as I could, played enough that I felt like I could write a review about it, wrote my review. I mean, to me, that's the best game this generation so far. I mean, you talked about it earlier, even if some of the actual mission structure seems repetitive, the content and the adult themes throughout that game are
so mature.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, it's one of those things where in an open world game, normally I skip the side missions because they feel like they're nonsense. They feel like side missions, you know? And in this game, nothing feels insignificant. Everything feels like it's important and it's affecting, even if it's not affecting the world as a whole, it's affecting individual people inside that world. And that world is fully realized. I mean, it feels like a lived-in world. I would check out my review if you want to know more. But spoilers, I did give that game a 9.8. The only thing holding it back is there are some technical issues with the game. I mean, there's some stutter. I've been playing on the Xbox One. They fixed some of it now that you can lock the frame rate at 30, but there is still some, there's some judder. There's some issues.
So you said,
and rounding it.
Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and you said you were gonna get to Splatoon.
Right. I am. Yeah.
Right.
And rounding it out on the Wii U, I've been playing some Splatoon. It's one of those games where because the online matches are so short, in between games or when I'm just like, I don't know what I feel like playing, I just pop it in and play a couple matches. Splatoon is fun. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. It's fun. It's colorful. I think the motion controls, which I normally hate, are perfect for this game.
Yeah.
I think the accuracy you get from the slight movements and slight tilts, especially the up and down on the gamepad, really give you an advantage, honestly, over using two sticks. And I've been playing a lot of that. Jamie wrote a review for theworkprint.com. He freelanced out and wrote a review. I think his review is fantastic. It's actually done. It's actually done some pretty good traffic on our site. So we'll actually maybe ask him back. I haven't decided yet. But and if you have a Wii U, or if you're on the fence about a Wii U and you think this game might be the one to push you over, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
My son has put in way more time than I have into it. My 7-year-old son, he's gotten farther in the campaign than I have, and by far the best amiibo figures are from that game.
Yeah.
I mean, that 3-pack of amiibo figures are so well done, and I mean, it's a beautiful game. I love Splatoon.
Sure. And like Eric, we were talking before the show, you said you don't have any kids, but I mean, if you really want to check out Splatoon, just go outside, find some kids, bring them into your house, let them play Splatoon.
throw some mud at them.
The random orphan kids.
Just say, hey kids, you want to come into my van? We'll take you to my house, we'll play some Splatoon.
I was about to say that. Send the bearded wonder brand himself outside.
Right.
The homeless man.
Bring him in, turn the lights off.
Give him some Jesus juice. It's all good. It's all good.
Goodness. Well, actually, talking about Splatoon, I have been playing that game quite a bit, but it's one of those games you turn it on, and you matches are 3 minutes. So I'll sit down, play a couple matches, turn it off, and do something else. I haven't really had a lot of time to game lately, but I mean, I've been playing Splatoon, and a little bit finished up Assassin's Creed, but I've been playing a lot of Don't Starve on the Wii U because it just recently came out. I love Don't Starve. That game is awesome. It's just the whole game is just trying to see how long you can survive and just figuring things out as you go. And like the art style is like this, like almost like a pop-up book. It's like a gothic pop-up book. But I'm having a blast with that game right now. So I'm playing a lot of that.
Yeah, I can't wait for Don't Starve Together.
I know, dude. I
be awesome.
I played a little bit of Don't Starve at your place on your PS4 like a long time ago because it came out on PS4 like a year ago.
Right.
But oh my gosh, dude. And plus with the Wii U, you've got the map on your gamepad at all times, so you can sort of look around and things like that. That's really nice. And I mean, you could
Jamie, you tried out Massive Chalice as well, right? On that
I
Xbox
did.
One?
I didn't really. I'm not into those kind of games. I mean, it was the free game of the month, so I checked it out. But I played it for like. I got through like the main tutorial missions and things like that, and I just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, it starts off kind of slow. It's okay. I like it. I mean, for free,
Yeah, it's free. But normally I love Double Fine stuff because, like, the Costume Quest and Psychonauts and like they made so many good games, and this one they just tried a different style game, and I just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, it's like an XCOM light set in the medieval setting. I like it. I mean,
Sure.
it's okay.
And I mean, they tried to do the normal Double Fine humor and stuff, and it just wasn't clicking with me. I don't know. But it's free. Like, if you like those kind of games, definitely check it out. But okay, real quick, we will hop into the end of our E3 extravaganza, our PlayStation part of the show, and our topic of the week. So hit it, Brant.
Oh, you want me to do it again?
Yeah, last time, sir.
Okay. E3 hype train choo choo. E3 hype train choo choo.
Thank you for that, sir.
Yep.
All aboard.
Again, courtesy of DLC
There you go.
podcast.
I figured I'd let you do it one more time because you did it on every other episode. I figured our last E3 show, we might as well do it.
Yes. I'm just going to tell you guys, I'm like in the middle of a monsoon, like huge thunderstorm right now. So
Yeah.
if I just randomly
Go
go
out?
out, then yeah, like if I
Sure.
get swept away, just keep going without me, guys.
Sure.
Okay.
The funny thing,
Listen, I already said I'm ready to take his place.
well, dude,
See, you're
it's
already
been
a step
storming
there.
here so bad. Like, it's just been crazy storms here all day. It's nuts.
Exactly.
So, man, it's just like out of nowhere, the sky will turn like black and like it'll start raining sideways, and it's good old Ohio weather for you.
Exactly.
Oh man. Well, as you guys know, from listening to the past episodes, real quick, we're gonna hit some brief history of Sony at E3, some of the things they've done in the past to sort of let us know what they've done in the past, so we can kind of guess what they may do in the future. Real quick, 1995, the first E3 is when they launched the PlayStation. It was actually the same year they launched the Sega Saturn. And when they announced the Sega Saturn, they said, it's out now. It was $400. And when PlayStation and Sony came up and talked, PlayStation was coming out. It was only going to be $300. So kind of like what they did a few years back with Xbox. It said, hey, we're here. Boom, we're $100 cheaper. So that was their first foot into E3. And at that year, the mascot of PlayStation was Polygon Man. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. It's like this big purple face with spikes all over it, and like that was supposed to be the face of PlayStation.
Is that the boss in
Star Fox.
PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale?
much.
Star Fox.
I don't know, because I never played All Stars Royale.
Okay, so
could
because
be.
I didn't.
Oh, you
I
know
didn't-
what? I know what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
don't remember Polygon Man from E3.
Yeah.
I
Right,
know what you're talking
right.
about from.
That'd be
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah.
Wow, that's a very odd piece of Sony history to
that's a
throw into
throwback.
All Stars.
Listen,
something new every day.
underrated game, by the way, PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. Underrated
right,
game.
right.
I
is
played it
fun.
on my Vita.
Yeah. I had it on that and the PS3.
Oh, the Vita love is strong today.
Is thriving.
But the next year in '96, the PlayStation actually dropped their price to $199. So after the first year, they already dropped it $100. But with that, in '96, and what they did in '96, they showed off a couple of new games. They showed off Tomb Raider, a Wipeout. They showed off the new Tekken. But the big game that year, and it also unleashed their new mascot, was Crash Bandicoot. So Crash Bandicoot was '96, and that kind of became the face of PlayStation for a very long amount of time. Do you guys remember those PlayStation commercials where that guy in the Crash suit would like go to Nintendo? Like he'd stand outside Nintendo with a megaphone and like yell at people?
Yeah, those were wacky.
Those ads were so good.
It's just it's very indicative of what video game commercials were like back then in
Right.
the '90s. It's craziness.
Oh, man. And then in '97, it was mainly, they've been out for a while, and they were just pushing games. And their big game that year was Metal Gear Solid 2, and they had Tomb Raider 2, just sort of showing off, the big PlayStation exclusives. In '98 was kind of the same way. It was a lot of sequels like Crash Bandicoot 3. They showed off Gran Turismo. It was the start of Gran Turismo. It was also the start of Silent Hill. So Silent Hill was started in '98. And then in '99 is when they unveiled the PlayStation 2. And the big games for PlayStation 2 they showed off were Ape Escape, Dino Crisis, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Those are the big games at the show that year. So it only took them from '96 to '99 before they unveiled the new PlayStation. In 2000 is when they actually released the PlayStation 2. And they had Metal Gear Solid 2 and Chrono Cross were the games they're showing off that year. In 2001 is when they showed off they're starting new games. They had Devil May Cry, Jack and Daxter, and they also had the sequel to Silent Hill. Did you guys, along the road, did you guys all own the original PlayStation?
I did.
Now,
So
sure.
I did not. Yeah, my first PlayStation console was the PlayStation 3. I was always the opposite side of Sony
Nintendo guy
growing up. Yeah, Nintendo. I had a Sega Saturn, Dreamcast. I had, everything else except for Sony consoles.
Sure.
And I still got to play them because one of my neighbors and my best friend when I was growing up, he always had the Sony consoles.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like I missed out, but I was always going over there telling him how
terrible
dumb
he
he
was.
was. Yeah, how terrible he was, how dumb he was.
Right. Well, what about you, Brian? I don't think your first PlayStation console was a PS2, right?
That is correct. Yeah, I never owned the PS1. You had the PS1.
I did. I remember
at the time everybody had an N64.
I know.
It
was me and Artie, man. We were like the rebels. We each had a PlayStation where everyone else had the N64. I eventually bought an N64, but it was like, a little bit later. But
good old Artie.
That's right. Oh, if you knew him, you would know how true that was.
Yeah, the Jigglypuff
That's
master.
right. Oh my gosh! In Smash Brothers, all he uses Jigglypuff. He dominates.
And he can actually dominate
Right,
with it.
right.
That's all I need to know about him.
That's right. He is A+ in your book. But in 2002, it was mostly just a year of sequels. That was the year when they canceled the Dreamcast. So PlayStation kind of lost that competition. They didn't have to worry about that anymore. All they had to worry about now was the GameCube and the Xbox. And they showed off Devil May Cry 2, Silent Hill 3. It was the year they brought out both Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper. So the mascot platformer was still pretty big then. The one game that I remember from 2002, SOCOM. I don't know if you guys remember SOCOM at all, but
Oh, yeah.
that game was the first game I played online because I bought that network adapter that plugged into the back of the system. Oh man, it was
Yeah, you had
awesome.
to screw it in with like your fingers.
That's
or
right.
something.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I played so much SOCOM, and I actually used my SOCOM headset all through the PS2 era and the PS3 era. It wasn't until the PS4 that I started using like a normal headset for online gaming. I just found it because I had like Bluetooth ones, but I never found them to be as comfortable or work as well as like the plugging the USB SOCOM headset in.
Wow, with the SOCOM, because it had that big box on it. Remember the big box of SOCOM on it. Brian,
That game was great though.
Oh, it was. Cause Brian, I remember you coming over. It's like you and Baker came over, and we would just like play SOCOM like all day. And you guys, well, one of us would play, and the other one would have the headset, and we would just start like yelling random things into the headset. So we were kind of like the start of the annoying people on the internet.
These super high
you
pitched
guys?
voices.
Yeah, it was us all along. But
Now you hate us.
That's right. The whole reason it came with the mic, if I remember right, that came with like voice commands for your team, right?
Yeah, you could tell them. I mean, they were like so stupid and limited, but you can
Bare
tell them
bones, yeah.
Yeah, like right, exactly. Like stay where you are, or advance, or cover me. Which seems really cool, much cooler in theory, I think, than it was in practice.
Oh man, I just love that game. Was so good. But that, like I said, that brought me to the online
another
era.
thing.
Yeah.
Silent Hill
Yeah.
2. You're talking about Silent Hill 2 and 3. Man, if you haven't played those, if you want a true horror experience, play those. Get the HD remaster.
Oh, they did a remaster of those. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not very good, but just to go back to it
Good
still
old
runs
Brian.
okay.
Yeah.
They don't add anything to it, but I mean, oh my gosh, the psychological horrorness of Silent Hill 2, I mean, still keeps me up at night.
You
I'm just
have
kidding, but
nightmares
it
of
was
like
really
these polygon people. Oh
Pyramid
man,
head.
that's right. But in 2003 is when Sony announced they're going to step into the handheld market with the PSP. And also that year they showed off Jak and Daxter 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3. So for that year, the big standout was no one could ever beat Nintendo. And here comes Sony with a new handheld. And while they didn't beat Nintendo, they actually had a pretty good fighting chance at the time. Did any of you guys own the PSP? I actually had a PSP. When I bought it, I had Mega Man Powered Up, and I had, what else did I have? I had MLB The Show. I think I had like 1 or 2 other games. I let my brother borrow it, and then it got stolen out of his car. So I didn't have it that long. But did any of you guys have the PSP?
So I actually got the PSP like later on once it dropped significantly in price. Actually, I think I got it when they announced the PSP Go is when I got a PSP.
Oh, okay.
And I got
that lasted a long time.
Yeah, and I got one of the original models, and I flashed it right away. I mean, listen, as an attorney, I can't recommend pirating to anybody. But I'll tell you what, I had a lot of games that I did not pay for. Okay? So the moral of the story is just don't get caught.
So I didn't know that was like a thing with the PSP. I like learned that recently. Had I known, like I totally would have been all over that. Even though again, awesome. I as well don't condone it. But,
right. I think ethically speaking, neither of us can condone. Right. And we want to keep our licensed actions. But I had a lot of games.
The prospect of playing like all like your NES and SNES ROMs on your PSP, I mean, that just sounds amazing.
Sure.
Right.
Nintendo on a Sony platform. That's interesting.
Debauchery.
Right.
Blasphemy.
Surprised it didn't make the whole thing just explode, like melt in your hands.
It's an abomination.
That's why the Vita is not selling. It would create a
black hole in the universe. But in 2004 is when they revealed the PlayStation Eye. So Sony was already starting to look at things like motion control. So long before Kinect and all that stuff. And just like all these other cameras, it obviously didn't sell. But in 2004, after all the SOCOM things like that, they were starting to really push up their online plans. And they said that in 2004, they were going to have over 100 games online by the end of the year. So they were really starting to push the online, just that whole community. And the big games for that year on PlayStation 2, it was God of War, the first Killzone, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So, I mean, those were all actually pretty big series to start off that year. And, you know, the one thing that eclipsed it all was the PlayStation Eye. But in 2005 is when they unveiled the PlayStation 3 for the first time, you know, and they're showing off how great it was with the Blu-ray technology. They were starting to show off what was called the PlayStation Network. And then they also had that boomerang controller. Do you guys remember how like horribly awkward that thing looked?
So I actually think that controller looked awesome.
Of course you would.
I was actually disappointed because I was not a fan of like the DualShock 3. I think DualShock 4 is actually a pretty good controller. I still don't think it's as good as the Xbox One controller, but I think it's a definitely a step up, and it's a good controller. But I was actually excited for that. I mean, we talked about this. I'm a sucker for gimmicks. But actually, I'm a sucker. That's where it should end, period. Yeah.
What about you, Eric?
I thought it was awesome looking.
Right. What about you, Eric?
I mean, it seemed like something out of like a 90s fever dream. Like, that's the most rad controller you could ever make. It looks like a boomerang. I don't know. It was kind of just a blip on the radar for me. I didn't feel particularly strongly about it.
I just remember the
I
analog
don't even
sticks
remember
on.
this.
You don't remember? Dude,
no,
go on Google and just look up PlayStation 3 boomerang controller, dude. It looked ridiculous.
I think I'll do that right now.
I'll get an image for you.
Oh, no. Oh, man. But, yeah, in 2006, the PlayStation was out, and they started showing off, you know, what the PlayStation 3 could do. And that year, they showed off Resistance, Fall of Man, Uncharted, and Heavenly Sword. Those are like the big launch titles for the PS3. I actually got a PS3 a few years after launch, but I still went back and played the first Resistance, played the first Uncharted. I never got around to Heavenly Sword, though. But for a launch, I remember when it came out, it was, what, was it $500 or $600 at launch? I can't remember how much that was.
The PlayStation 3?
Yeah, the PS3.
I think one of the models was $600.
Yeah, because I remember they came out and they said
the highest end one was $600. That's right.
Yeah, and they said you'll get a second job to buy this system.
Right.
Because they were on this. PlayStation was kind of like on this ego trip from how great the PS2 did. I mean, PlayStation 2 is the best-selling console of all time. But they came out and said, "Oh, they'll easily pay $600 for this awesome piece of technology." But obviously, it got off to a very slow start. But
man, this boomerang control, jeez, it looks like something Batman would use.
Right, exactly.
now Brent's
Delayed
catching up with the
response.
conversation.
Yeah. All right, continue.
Right. Thank you.
I personally attribute 50% of the PlayStation 3's slow start to the price and 50% to those creepy commercials with like the baby doll melting in
that was like
weird
crying like
room.
black tears.
forgot
Like,
about
that was,
those.
Yeah, that was just
I totally forgot about that.
Like trying to,
Wait,
there's like
you-
these subliminal messages.
right.
Yeah.
right.
You think the commercials that showed no gameplay for a game system was the reason it didn't sell?
Right. Oh man, I totally forgot about those commercials. But in 2007, they were still trying to push the PS2 because the PS3 still really wasn't selling. But the big games they were pushing for PS3 that year: Gran Turismo 5, the first Infamous, and Metal Gear Solid 4. And I loved the Infamous series. I actually platinumed all those games. That series was so good. Although since I never bought a PS4, I haven't played Second Son. I mean, I kind of dabbled in it over at a friend's house, but were you guys big fans of Infamous at all?
I love Infamous, and I actually I feel like in the minority in that I really like Second Son. I mean, I agree with like what the general consensus about like its story isn't like anything special, but I think the production values are great, and it's just more Infamous. The fact that you can use multiple different powers, I don't know. It's more of what I loved about the other games, so I was very satisfied when Second Son came out. I really enjoyed it, and I platinumed it as well. I enjoyed that game a lot.
And did you play the added DLC? What was it? First Light, or what was that called?
Yeah, that was great
First Light,
too.
I didn't play it until it came out as on PlayStation Plus as free.
Oh, okay.
But that was surprisingly good, especially the arena part of it. They added like this whole arena combat mode, which is really, really fun.
Yep.
And tough because, I mean, it's not like, I guess Infamous is never a game that you're really like, it's not about like precision so much as it is mass destruction, but you gotta be really, really accurate and like skilled in those arenas to get the trophies.
Sure.
So Infamous is actually my favorite series during that generation on the PS3. It's my favorite Sony franchise probably ever, actually, to be honest. So drop a little nerd cred.
Oh no.
So Eric, you live close enough to Javits Center, I'm assuming, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're in New York. Yeah. So New York Comic Con is in Javits Center. It's a train ride away from where I was for law school and stuff like that. I went to New York Comic Con, I think 3 years in a row, and I would get a 4-day pass Thursday through Sunday, and every Saturday I would actually do cosplay. Okay. And listen, I'm a bro, like through and through, right? I love my games, but I'm a bro through and through. I love the gym. I love my sports. But listen, I cosplayed as Cole, as good Cole actually, because I got the white with the blue sleeve baseball tee, right? For Comic-Con. And I was there when when Greg Miller was there and Colin Moriarty were actually doing a booth for Uncharted 3, I think. They were doing like the multiplayer thing. And I actually got called up to be on Greg's team because he pointed at me and he was like, who you, like, what's going on? Like, can you play? I was like, yeah, I can play shooters, And he's like, what's wrong with your fingers? Because I had like the tape that Cole has on his fingers. And I was like, oh, it's part of that costume. And then he looks at me and he goes, you're good, Cole. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, come on up.
That's all he says.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
And so, honestly, that's my brush with fame. Is Greg Miller, right? Yeah.
You got to give me.
It's a good one.
Dude, that's pretty.
Yeah. No, I actually met all those guys. The next year, I actually saw. Not to get off topic, but next year I was standing around the Vita section of New York Comic Con, and Colin Moriarty was just there checking out games, and I went up and asked them to take a picture and stuff like that. Those guys are super, super nice. There's a reason that their success has translated past IGN. They're class acts, and they do care about the fans.
Oh yeah, I mean, kind of funny. The stuff they've been doing with that is awesome.
Yeah.
But to get us back on track here, which Rob decided to send us down a little trail there. He wanted to take a detour, take the scenic route.
Always do this.
In 2008, it was mostly more games for the PS3. They actually talked about BioShock finally coming to PlayStation. They showed off Resistance 2. That was the year they actually unveiled DC Universe Online. So, I mean, that was a pretty big deal at the time. In 2009, Rob, this one's for you. PSP Go. Boom.
Yeah.
They also... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I worked at GameStop as a It's the manager at that time. And I remember all
You've
the
done
people
it all,
coming
man.
in. I have. I've been, yeah.
He is a man of many hats.
Yeah. Oh my god! If I told you guys some of the stories about my childhood, you guys would never have me on again. So, I remember having to explain to all the people exactly what it was and
PSP
why
Go.
they shouldn't buy it.
Right. You were that guy.
Yeah. I was like, hey, you know
You
those
are
games
the
you like
reason
to
the
play?
PSP Go didn't sell.
The reason the PSP Go didn't sell is because you couldn't even play 90% of the games that were available on the Vita.
Because you couldn't download them, right?
That's true.
Correct.
But also that year, they showed off Uncharted 2, which was the big deal, and God of War 3. They also showed off Heavy Rain. So Quantic Dream's a big game. The other big thing at that show, which is kind of just like a dream now, they showed off MAG for the PS3. It was supposed to be a 256 online multiplayer. It was like supposed to be this huge battle online, this first-person shooter, and it came out and nothing. Because just trying to
played
get
that.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was so unoriginal. I mean, original and just bland, just like every other shooter.
I mean, they really hyped that game.
I wish people could see Eric's face when you said the word mag. his reaction was absolutely
Priceless.
perfect.
So, are you a fan of MAG, sir?
No, I am. I've never played it, so maybe it's a little unfair of me to make such a face.
Sure.
But it just seemed like such a stupid, cheap way to try and jump on the first-person shooter bandwagon, online shooter bandwagon.
Because the problem with MAG was that they hyped up the 256 and it being this grand battlefield. That's not the case. The truth of the matter is, you only saw 16 people because the maps were so large that you were grouped against these. Right. It was smaller skirmishes. So I mean, honestly, after a month, there weren't even 256 people playing that game.
Exactly.
So that
It'd be
that
hard
never
to find
mattered.
that.
And I mean, with how bad
Right.
online servers are now, trying to do it back then, I mean, it's just a mess.
Right.
There's nothing about 256 people simultaneously playing online that attracts me anyway.
Sure.
I'm such I'd much rather play. I'm much bigger fan of Call of Duty than Battlefield because I just feel like with 64 people, it's I never feel like I'm making a difference in what's going on. You know what I mean? It's so hard to feel like you're really part of. I don't know, you're making a dent in the other team. So 256 just seems insane to me.
So what you're saying is you're just not good enough to make a difference.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Look, this is your first time on. You're not even a repeat guest, and the hate is already coming. I
That's
told
the
you.
love,
I
sir.
warned you.
I feel like I know you guys already.
Right, good. And he's like, well, I'm taking them off my list of shows to come back.
Hey guys, come check out the Press Circle podcast when you have a chance, because it's the last time I'll be able to plug it.
Listen, that's what I'm talking about. You see, he's learning. He's learning.
There you go.
I'm learning. When Rob takes over for Josh, I'll take over for Rob.
That works. That works out perfectly.
Actually, hey, how about this, Eric? You take Jamie's spot. I'll take Brent's spot. We now own the Life of Gaming podcast.
There you go.
I'm sure in the court of law
There's a mutiny going on here.
Circle.
I'm sure in the court of law we could probably get the copyright for that. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I doubt they
gosh.
filed the
There's
Find a
nothing
loophole.
protectable in that mark.
Right.
It's too
Yeah,
generic.
exactly.
James, what
Brett,
have
we got
you
a
done?
mutiny going on here, man. I don't know what to do.
You're the captain. You
That's
know
right.
what to do.
I will right this ship, sir.
I mean, this ship has gone way off course.
Right.
It's too late.
The E3 hype train is off the rails.
That's right. Choo-choo. Right, Brad? Okay, to get us back on track, guys. 2010. Do you guys remember all those Kevin Butler commercials that were super popular? 2010 was the year everyone was like, will Kevin Butler be there? And they had him he had a whole segment to himself where he just kind of hosted Sony's conference. It was a year where Sony's like, we know people love this guy. We're going to, although they kind of kicked him to the curb after the whole Wii fiasco because he was in a commercial where he was playing the Wii. But that's a whole other story. But that year, Kevin Butler was huge. He was the face of PlayStation.
And he was a good spokesman. I
He
mean,
was.
honestly, I really enjoyed those commercials. And it's funny because it wasn't even a Nintendo commercial. It was a tire commercial.
I know. But if you bought so many tires, you got a Wii or something, or Mario Kart. I forget what it was.
Yeah, I don't
Some
remember what
odd,
the-
strange deal. But that year, they also showed off Killzone 3. They talked about the return of Twisted Metal. If you remember, they came out with that ice cream truck on stage. They showed off Little Big Planet 2. And one of the big things that year, Portal 2, the version that was on PlayStation was actually cross-play with the PC. So if you had it on PlayStation, it actually came with a Steam code. So you could actually download it on your PC. So you could play Portal 2 between, someone on your PC and someone on your PlayStation. So it was actually a pretty big deal for them back then.
I also think Portal 2 supported PlayStation Move, didn't it?
It may have in the future. I don't think it did at launch.
I feel like that's the way I played it, actually.
Because I think a lot of the PlayStation Move stuff, which actually are on my list, I should put that on my list somewhere. But PlayStation Move, they started integrating it into different stuff. Like they added it to Little Big Planet. Actually, Resistance 3 in 2011 was when they had Resistance 3 come out, and that's the way I played Resistance 3. I played it with 3D on, and I played it with the Move.
Yeah,
I played the whole campaign that way.
It had that horrible rifle shell where you would think that the sensible thing to do was to make the actual trigger, but instead you had to press the top, or maybe it was a reload. You had to press the top.
I didn't use the gun casing. I just played it how I played Metroid Prime, like Metroid Prime 3 with the Wii remote and the nunchuck. Played it just like that. I love that game.
What was it? Killzone 3 actually controlled pretty well with the Move, and if you played online as the sniper class, it gave you a huge advantage as far as precise movements.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm kind of surprised.
Just like in Splatoon.
Right.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
See, you're getting it, man.
I played with the Move on BioShock Infinite. I'm like, no.
But you've never been a fan of motion controls at all. You hate motion controls, though.
Wait, am I the only person on this podcast who didn't own a Move?
Probably. Man, yeah, because Brant, you had a Move for a very short amount of time.
No, I still have a Move.
Oh, do you really?
Wow. A House of the Undead.
Yeah,
House of the Dead.
Overkill. House of the Dead Overkill. That game was
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that game, the Move's awesome for it. But
yeah, but dude,
other than that,
last generation, it was a very big time for light gun shooters because we had House of the Dead come back. We had the original ones remastered. We had the Dead Space one. We had I'm trying to think.
Good too.
Yeah, there were so many good light gun shooters last generation. And so
all those Resident Evil ones.
Yeah, that's right. Umbrella Chronicles and Darkside Chronicles. Yeah.
It still isn't as satisfying as going to a dingy movie theater and using the hard plastic.
Right.
Hearing that click in the actual light gun arcade games is so satisfying.
Kickback.
Yeah, it's so satisfying.
And the accuracy's all off because the gun's old and then the
oh yeah, I'm pointing up at the top right corner to center it. That's the way I need my light gun games to play.
But the other big thing in 2011 was the PlayStation Vita. That's when they showed off the PlayStation Vita. Was in 2011. So all you guys with your PlayStation Vita love, that was the start of that passion.
Vita what?
That's right. 2012 was the last big, hurrah for PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3 because they showed off The Last of Us. They showed off Beyond Two Souls. They started talking about their PlayStation Plus program. But the one thing they had at the conference that was the talk of the town is when they showed off Wonder Book. If you guys remember Wonder Book, it was this kid's game where it was exactly. People hated that because they spent half their conference talking about Wonder Book because J.K. Rowling was writing these stories for Wonder Book, which used the PlayStation Move. But it was a disaster.
That conference is going so well too.
Yeah.
And they always find some way to screw it up, though.
That's right.
They always find the one. It was like last time when they talk about powers for 20 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're where can we? People need to take a nap because they're so energized. We need to give people time to take a nap, so we'll put a little lull right there in the middle, and then we'll wake them up again at the end. We'll throw in some Uncharted, and we will be good. But and now in 2013 is when was the infamous PlayStation conference where they talked about the PS4, they unveiled it, and they said everything Microsoft said, they just went against it. They said, look, they have this, we do it better. Xbox. Exactly. They're 500, we're 400. Oh, they don't let you share games, we do. It was just, they destroyed Microsoft.
Putting it lightly.
Sure. I mean,
it's so funny. It's so funny, though, that now the thing is that there are still games that come out that require you to be online.
Exactly.
I know, that's the thing.
And so it's I mean, listen, it was a genius move. I think it's a big reason that they're out up front right now. And I think that they did what they needed to do, but it also feels, I don't know, as a PS4 owner now, granted it's recent, it also feels just a little bit deceiving in hindsight.
Well, they diverted all attention from them to Microsoft.
Yes,
That's
they did.
pretty much what they did.
Exactly.
It was a genius move.
They said, "Look how awful
genius,
Microsoft
absolutely
is.
genius.
They don't know the gamer. We know the gamer." And it was just Well, I mean, Eric, could you feel the hype and the love during that during that showing?
Yeah, I mean, it was actually interesting because the way I remember it is like the actual conference. I wasn't like that hyped about. I did not think like that whole like from the beginning on. Like I didn't feel like that press conference was that great.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was that moment, and like everything was forgotten. Like the rest of the press conference didn't matter. Whatever else they had announced like didn't matter. That was the moment that will like live on forever as like the announcement of the PlayStation 4 and like the. Like, I guess the one reason really why PS4 is ahead of Xbox One to this day. What I keep thinking about though is like, do we think all of that was like planned out from the very beginning, or was some of that like thrown like those decisions made in like the last minutes before going on stage after everyone saw the reaction to the Xbox One press conference?
We'll
never know, but.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think a lot of that stuff is already planned. I mean, it's hard. I mean, there's not a huge gap between the Xbox One conference and the PlayStation the Xbox conference, PlayStation conference. It's only a couple of hours, and to make those kind of business decisions when you're already in the process of manufacturing units and stuff like that, or at least dev kits, it's kind of hard to then drop some stuff. So people who say that they dropped the camera last minute, I don't know how much I believe about that. Especially, I don't. The one thing I don't believe they dropped last minute is I don't think they ever had an always online requirement, and I think that's the biggest thing, and that's what. They ran
totally.
with,
No, I totally agree with you. I do think though they could have had like two plans right in place depending on what Microsoft said. Maybe they release it with the camera, maybe they don't. I also think like the way it was written and the way it was like actually said at the end of the conference and how it was all framed was very much like directed at the way Microsoft had presented their stuff too. So maybe it was just a couple like just rejiggering of how it all went down.
So pretty much
agree.
oh, sorry, go ahead, man.
No, I was gonna say I agree, but then as far as the wording of it and the way it was focused, but I think if there's two plans and one is to include the camera at that price and not to include it at that price, then what could Microsoft have said that would have made them keep the camera in there? I mean, was Microsoft going to come out and say $600 for a console? I mean, come on.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
See, what I imagine is like one of the Sony guys meeting some dude in a trench coat, like back in the back of a parking lot, and he hands him this folder, right? And they take it back, and then they pull it out and they read it, and this guy pulls out his typewriter and starts like typing, and like smoke's coming off his fingers, so he can rewrite the whole thing just so they can bash Microsoft. That's what happened.
Conspiracy
True
theory.
story.
Yep.
But last year, pretty much all they did, it was the year of PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4 was out, and they were going to show off the games they had. The big push they had last year was Destiny, because Bungie was finally, they weren't exclusive to Microsoft anymore, and PlayStation wanted to show that, they were a big player this time. So they showed they showed off the gameplay during PlayStation's conference. They talked about exclusive DLC, exclusive maps and weapons. They also showed off Uncharted 4. It said it was going to come out this year, but we all know that got pushed back a little bit. The other big game at that show, No Man's Sky. That was pretty much what, 2 or 3 guys made that, were making that game, I believe.
Like 4 or 5.
So I mean that, and that Sony even said that they're going to start pushing that as if it's a first party game. So they're putting a lot of hope into this No Man's Sky. Were you guys impressed by the No Man's Sky demo at all last year? I guess Eric, we'll start with you, man.
I am so excited for that game. That game is like the exact type of game that I've always wanted since I first played video games. It's just like this big immersive world where that's a kind of, I mean, it's granted, it all sounds a little bit too good to be true, but the way it's being presented as what it's going to end up being, and what I've read about the game is, it's really just this playground. You're having your own experience in this big seamless galaxy that's with infinite planets to explore. I don't fully grasp what it will be like to play that game, but everything I've heard about the game has me like foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, the art direction, just everything. Exploration.
I was gonna say, Brand. I know me and you have been talking about this game a lot. I know you're really excited for this one.
Yeah, it's definitely on the hype train list of games that I hope they show more at the C3. I don't know if they will, but I hope that they have more concepts in place, like maybe discuss how some of the gameplay elements will come up. But
sure, and that's one where they've come out and said it's PlayStation exclusive for now. So I don't know if it's going to come to PC. I don't know if it'll ever come to Xbox One. I mean, they've talked to the creators about that game multiple times about it, and they always say, we can't say. So to me, it seems like it's going to be more of a timed exclusive. I don't know. We'll see. It depends. I guess it really depends on how popular the game is. What about you, Rob? I mean, do you have any interest in No Man's Sky at all?
So it's funny because I actually think the art design from what we've seen is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I love the bright colors. I love the oversaturation. It's kind of like, if any of you guys have seen Mad Max Fury Road, it's got that color palette where it's, oversaturated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. The problem is that Eric talked about how it's, immersive and how it's wide open. But from what I've seen, it also feels kind of empty and it feels kind of isolated. And that bothers me a little. I mean, I like the idea of exploring planets, stuff like that, but the problem is they haven't showed me why I want to explore those planets, what's on those planets, So I'm tentatively excited about it. I mean, I am excited to see what it turns out to be, but the funny thing is the hype train has caused us to ignore the fact that we know so little about this game.
Sure.
Like, we know so little about what the actual gameplay is, what the actual purpose is. I mean, there could be no purpose. It could be just exploring, and it works sometimes.
Sure.
I mean, Minecraft has no real purpose. The purpose is what you make it to be.
I'm sort of thinking that's the way it's going to be. It's just based on exploration and just, hopefully they have other gameplay hooks in there, like colonization, maybe, or something.
Yeah. So I mean, there was Game Informer actually did a big piece on it. So and there's actually a decent amount of information in there. And so what I understand, the central hook is that you are slowly working your way towards the center of the galaxy, right? So you need to get enough materials and build up enough credits to buy the ship that can take you to the next layer deeper. And then so we were talking about this on Press Circle actually, which you can find on your podcast provider of choice. I mean, if you think about it, if everybody's starting out at the edges of this giant circle, and as time goes on, the higher level your characters are getting closer and closer, you're going to start running into people more and more. And I think the idea is once you get to the center, that's the big social hub where you finally, where you hook up with all your players, and then you can go back out into the galaxy with a federation. I mean, this is all I'm piecing together and kind of making inferences based on what we know, but that's what really excites me is it's kind of gradual growth, and as you get better, you're starting to team up with people, and you're getting to see you find more player characters in the world.
Right. So that part sounds awesome, right? But it's getting to that part that I'm concerned about. Right. I mean, it's kind of the Destiny problem, which I have a very strong love-hate relationship with. Destiny, when you get to level 20, that's when it becomes fun.
Sure.
Everything before that is kind of tedious. It's kind of
Totally.
Look, Destiny as a whole is tedious and repetitive. Let's be real. I mean, the gameplay mechanics are super solid, and it's become an interactive chat room for me and my friends. But it's getting to that point that concerns me with No Man's Sky is when we can actually, where's the conflict before that?
Sure. Well, with that, guys, that'll wrap up our history of E3 for PlayStation, and we're going to get into what everyone's been waiting for, our wonderful predictions. Real quick, I want to read off some of our listeners' Xbox predictions to go along with our last week's show. Anthony Cantu said he thinks that they will have a Fable HD collection to show off, and possibly some teaser for Gears of War 4. Andy warns that he would like to see a Viva Pinata 3.
I'm okay with all of those predictions.
Hey, I'm not done yet, sir.
I would love a Fable collection.
Oh man,
Viva Pinata.
That's right. Oh man, see, Viva Pinata. That's rare.
That was actually pretty fun.
Rare's got another game coming out, at least assuming they have something, and nobody knows what it is. So that actually could be a pretty good one. Paul Nelson said he's hoping they'll show off a new UI change for the Xbox One itself, because they, pretty much getting rid of Kinect, and the whole interface is based around that Kinect. So he'd like to see them, change it and update that.
Jamie, do you have a Kinect?
I do, but it's not hooked up. I bought one that came with one, but I don't have it hooked up.
See, I love my Kinect. I understand for gameplay reasons it's kind of pointless.
Sure.
Except for Dance Central, which Dance Central, best motion game of all time. I don't care what anybody says.
Dance Central is fantastic. I don't care
it's fantastic. Exactly.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
So funny.
But as far as like maneuvering, it's super satisfying to walk in the room and say Xbox on.
Sure.
Like when it works, and for me it works 90% of the time. I mean, it is amazing.
When I had my Kinect hooked up, that was the main reason I use it, was voice commands. But after I disconnected it, I've kind of learned the shortcuts on the controller, so it doesn't bother me too much. But
it does need a UI change. I mean, if they're taking Kinect out of the box, it needs a UI change. I agree.
John Magalis said he would like to see Tomb Raider. It was rumored that Tomb Raider would be a full-on exclusive for Xbox, not just a timed exclusive. And then Jamal Douglas said he would like to see some kind of Call of Duty collection from like the past games, like the Modern Warfare and things like that. But okay, with that, guys, we're going to hop into our PlayStation predictions. So I guess with this, Rob said he's got one he really wanted to start off with. So what we're going to do, Brant, what do you got for us?
This is the last time I'm probably going to be on this show.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
I'm just messing with you.
You see how you got my hopes up?
I couldn't help myself, man. What do you got?
That's fair enough. So just to get this out of the way, my first prediction, and we're doing this, the first prediction is like what we think is 100% going to happen.
What we're going to do,
right?
we're going to do, our first prediction is one we pretty much absolutely think is going to happen. Our second prediction are one we're kind of like 50-50 about. And our third prediction is one that's crazy, but we'd love to see happen.
Eric, I'm already ready to take over the show.
Oh,
Let's just do it.
Go ahead, man. What do you got?
Okay, so my first prediction is that Guerrilla Games, the developers of the Killzone franchise, will announce their next game on the PS4, that it will not be an entry in the Killzone franchise, and actually it won't even be a traditional first-person shooter. That it'll be some sort of open world or something other than what they've done in the past.
I hope so.
And I wrote this down, and when I say I wrote this down, that's a lie. I thought of this. I thought of this about a week ago when we first talked about when we talked about. You told me I need to start getting my predictions ready because you didn't want me to be unprepared for this show. That's the first thing I thought about. And then 2 days ago or yesterday, I can't remember, Guerrilla Games actually made a Twitter account.
Oh.
Yep.
So I am super confident, and that's the whole reason I wanted to be first, that they are going to announce a new IP, which is super exciting for me because the Killzone franchise for me isn't the best first-person shooter franchise, but visuals are fantastic.
Sure.
And even controls are really well done. I just don't think they have. I think they have story issues, but I mean, I'm super excited for whatever they do next.
The games keep improving.
Yeah.
Each one gets better.
I would agree. Well, actually, I think 2 and Shadowfall are fantastic. 3 is awful. 3 is awful.
I never played 3, so.
Okay, Eric, what do you got for us, man?
So this is a total layup.
Okay.
So don't judge me.
Okay.
But this is a total layup. We are going to see the confirmation that we're going to get a new PlayStation 4 model with 1 terabyte hard drive. But I guess the wrinkle in this is to match what the Xbox One has just announced. They are going to drop the 500 gigabyte model down to $350, and the 1 terabyte model will be $400.
Okay.
Total layup, but let's start out a little easy, guys.
No, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's a safe bet.
Well, Brant, what do you got for us?
Well, I think it's safe to say that Project Morpheus will be there in some capacity.
Okay.
And I just would like to know, like what kind of games are being developed for it, which studios are working on this. And this is really critical for PlayStation. If they can either hit a Grand Slam E3 conference home run with this, or they can do a strikeout with the bases loaded crash and burn thing with the Morpheus. They just if they spend too much time on it, it could be like a Wonder Book over again, or it could just take the show over. So I'm hoping that maybe they have some type of demos they can have there for that, get this thing sort of hyped up, but not go overboard with it.
Sure.
So, what are your predictions on price for the Project Morpheus?
I'm predicting. I would say $200.
Okay.
Give or take some.
Okay,
I think that would be a good price.
Okay.
That would be a great price.
That would be a great price. Yeah, thank you, Eric.
It's rumored right now that's going to be like $400. So
yeah,
I think 400 is way more realistic.
Yeah.
I think 400 is around where it's going to be.
I think 300 is like the consumer sweet spot.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Maybe they would.
I still think 400.
I think that's a tough sell. Even at 300, I think it's a tough sell.
We'll see.
mean, look, truly told, I'm going to say this. Probably not for the last time. I'm a sucker.
We know.
So at $300, I am probably in.
Okay.
All right,
okay.
on Project Morpheus.
There you go.
But I don't think you're gonna get. I don't think you're gonna get average Joe Schmo.
Maybe they'll have
the guys
different.
that got hyped.
I was just gonna say maybe they'll have different models. Because
No.
I know the Move would the Move they've had some integration with the Move, I think.
Okay.
Or
So you're saying
have a
there'll be a
model
Project
with the
Morpheus
move
that's
or-
made out of like a cardboard box, and you just can like strap it to your head. And
You put your Vita in like a holster and it's just right in
it's
front of your
strapped
face.
to your head, yeah.
Perfect.
No,
There you go.
I think because the DualShock 4 actually has some of the same functionality as a Move controller, I don't think there will be different models. I think you'll have the option of using a DualShock 4 or a Move controller. I don't think there'll be different models. I think it'll be one consumer unit, and I think it's going to be priced about the same as what a console by itself costs.
See, I heard it might be in the lower range, but I don't know. It's so hard to tell. The tech behind it just depends on the tech, how much,
Right.
how cheap they can get it.
The way that Sony knocks this Morpheus out of the park at this E3, and I don't want to say too much because it's going to bleed into my other predictions, but is that they need to tie it to their first-party exclusive that have not been announced yet. We have all these studios who are working on games that we don't know about, and Guerrilla is one of them. They need all what if Sony has all these studios working on games that integrate with the Morpheus in smart ways, then I think it's in good shape. If it's just a couple tech demo type games and maybe one exclusive that isn't really that exciting, I think it's going to end up like the Move.
Sure.
I think there's no way that they take one of their first big party studios and make an exclusive Morpheus game, and that's the only way that it becomes
not exclusive. I'm saying maybe just with Morpheus functionality built in,
right?
Optional.
Okay.
Right, but I think the only way for it to be big is to make it exclusive.
Sure. Well, thank you guys for finishing Brandt's prediction.
They have much better ideas than I have.
Well, my prediction that's like an absolute 100%. With Star Wars Battlefront and Call of Duty and a lot of those shooters, they've been demoing them on PlayStation, pretty much wherever they've been showing them. So I think when they come out and talk about Star Wars and Call of Duty, they're going to come out and say, we will have, exclusive content for these games on our system. Just because with Xbox, they've always been attached to that Call of Duty, and they've always had that exclusive content to themselves. And now with PlayStation sort of, taking the lead this generation, I feel like a lot of that exclusive content is going to fall onto Sony now. So that is my first prediction. But to keep things rolling, I guess, Brant, let's go back to you, man. What do you have for your second prediction?
Turn over fast, huh? No.
That's right.
For my second, Bloodborne just came out recently, but I'm hoping that they reveal something on the DLC that's coming out, because that's got me really hyped for it. This is just something I really want.
Sure.
But maybe bring it to a new area.
Okay.
New enemies, bosses. And yeah, I mean, they did the whole Gothic thing this time. Maybe make it more, I don't know what to say. In the vein like a psychological horror in a way, maybe like Silent Hill-esque.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Sure.
I think that would be pretty cool. But
cool.
I think that's a very safe, a great idea, and also I think it's a very safe bet too, because Bloodborne was surprisingly big for Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, okay, Eric, what do you have for your second one then?
So this is kind of an amalgam of Rob and Brandt's two predictions from the last round, but because I bring them together, that makes it more unlikely to happen. Like Rob predicted, Guerrilla Games isn't going to come out and they are going to reveal their new game. It is going to be a first-person open-world RPG, and it's going to follow. We've seen some concept art that's leaked, and it's like like Neanderthal type hero characters fighting robot dinosaurs.
Sure.
As weird as that sounds, but that's going to be what it is, and it's going to be almost like Skyrim-esque.
Okay.
Maybe even like with a mix. I don't know if you guys saw that new game Ark that is like in Steam
sure.
early access right now. It's like a dinosaur survival type game. But the hook here is that game is going to be Morpheus compatible, and it's because it's in the first person. It's also it's going to be fully 3D and immersive in this giant open prehistoric RPG world in virtual reality. So that's my prediction is what the first big Morpheus game will be.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay, Rob, what you got? Hit us with it quick.
I don't do anything quick.
Right.
Well, actually,
You haven't learned.
Actually, that's not true. If you talk to my wife, she would tell you I do something.
Oh, jeez.
Bazinga!
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know if this is a 50-50 prediction or if this is something I think that's definitely going to happen. So I think that because they recently classified the PlayStation Vita as a legacy console, I think the PlayStation Vita is going to get a price drop down to at least $150, which will put it less than the 3DS is. I also think that besides announcing games for the PS4 that are going to be cross-buy with the PlayStation Vita, that's the only exclusive PlayStation Vita news we get. We might get a highlight reel of games coming, which is like 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. But as far as any time actually spent on the PlayStation Vita, it's just going to be that the price is dropped, and they're going to hype the fact that it has remote play for the PlayStation 4.
Sure.
I think the focus is going to be on PlayStation 4. Maybe Project
I wouldn't
Scorpius.
be surprised about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Totally agree. I think that's Vita's hook, and any chance of garnering more sales as the PlayStation 4, is still ahead in the game, is to push it as a companion device for the PS4.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Totally.
Okay, guys, my second prediction, my 50-50-ish, I think that Quantic Dream, they're going to officially come out and unveil whatever their next game is, because every time they've done this, they've sort of shown off a small tech demo of something, and then the next year, they totally unveil it. Where I remember when they first showed off the PlayStation 4, they showed off, oh, look at the textures on this wizard's face. And then a few years later, they showed the actual...
The Kara?
No,
demo?
No, the one after that, the wizard one, where it was like it looked like a wizard, and then it was like him being on a set. It was like kind of like more of like a tech demo in the middle there, and so I think that whatever Quantic Dream is working on is going to get shown off at this year's E3. But okay, last prediction, guys. This is the one that you just want to see happen. I guess Rob, we'll start with you, man. What you got?
Okay, real quick. I just want to add to my first prediction.
Oh, no.
I think that Guerrilla Games, I think that Guerrilla Games announcement that it's also going to be released in 2016.
Okay.
So I think they have their spring 2016 with Uncharted 4 game lined up, and I think that'll be their big game for the fall of 2016.
Okay.
Now to my dream announcement, is that we get a Sly Cooper 5 announcement, and that it's cross-buy, and that it's actually being worked on by, and there's no way this is happening, but it's actually being worked on by Sucker Punch themselves.
Okay. That's a pretty good one.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, Eric, we'll go with you, man. What do you have for your last one?
So we already talked about No Man's Sky, but I have this written on my Word document that I didn't just come up with this now because we were talking about No Man's Sky. If you remember last year, like one of the big things at Sony's press conference was they talked a lot about Destiny, but the big thing was that, and the Destiny Alpha you can go on and play it right now, right? So my prediction, and this is totally not going to happen, is that first of all, No Man's Sky gets confirmed release date for 2015. I know that's what they're targeting, but I have doubts that that'll actually happen. And they'll say they are releasing a small bite-sized alpha, and that's playable right now.
Okay. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would. I mean, that's why it's out, not their prediction.
Okay, Brian, what do you have for us?
I was going to do the Quantic Dream one because I'm super hyped for a game from them, but I will change it, and no one's mentioned this, and I'm surprised, but The Last Guardian, maybe? Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming back. People are talking about it already again. Who knows if it's true or not, but I mean, they haven't fully canceled it yet. There has to be something. I mean, maybe a name change, maybe a different developers working on it, or collaboration of developers with Team Ico, but I mean, there has to be something. I just wish that they would, fulfill our waiting with an announcement at E3.
Okay, awesome. My last one, my way out there one, Rob actually stole because mine was actually Sly Cooper coming to PlayStation.
Yes.
So, I mean,
Yes.
I
am so ready.
Good job, Rob.
I know.
I am so ready to take over this podcast. I am so ready to take over this
stealing our
podcast.
predictions, man. Oh, man. Well, real quick, guys, those are our predictions. Just to read off a couple of our listener predictions. Justin Aldwin said he thinks that Morpheus, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, he thinks Morpheus will be shown off with the price and the final design and hopefully a date when it'll be released. Ian Dobbins, he thought they would show off a new interface for the PS4. And then we have a Bruce Ridla, who said he'd like to see external hard drive support being added to the PS4. Just something small, but he'd like to see a couple different things, like to sort of update the interface with hard drive support, MP4 playback, folders, just a lot of things like that, just sort of organize the system a little bit better.
So that was actually an alternate prediction for me, was that they were going to announce external hard drive support, which I think works fantastic on the Xbox One, and I think it needs to happen on the PS4, to be honest. I mean, being able to just throw an external, like, 3 terabyte hard drive on there, 4 terabyte hard drive on there would be fantastic.
Okay.
Do we think that takes away from their announcement of a 1 terabyte PS4 model?
I don't think so, because I think for the average consumer, the thought of throwing anything extra on these consoles is pretty out there. It's not the first thing that comes to mind. I think for us, the hardcore, I think it's, especially us that got on the bandwagon when the 500 gig model was all that was out. I think the ability to throw an external on there instead of having to actually go in there and replace the internal one would be an amazing announcement. I mean,
sure.
I would be very, very happy with that announcement.
Changed my life.
Well, hopefully you guys have enjoyed listening to the show. Rob, first of all, thanks for filling in for Matt, man. That was great. Very nice.
Absolutely. Anytime, guys. Right. You know that. Anytime.
And Eric, thank you for coming on the show for the first time. Hopefully you've enjoyed your experience here.
I'm never coming back. It was awful.
Not scarred. Yeah.
Well, real quick, just sort of let people know, where they can find you online, man.
Sure, yeah. So you can check me out on the PlayStation Network. It's Gerstud101, Gerstud 101. You can catch me on Twitter at ETGers, ETGERS. Again, you can find my stuff on WeTheNerdy.com. I actually just wrote an article I'm very proud of about how I would write The Last of Us 2. It's a 2-part article. One part's out right now. The second part should be out next week. So check that out. Let me know what you think. And then, of course, search us on iTunes, find Press Circle, download, subscribe, share, and I think that's all of my digital presences that I can plug. So,
awesome. Well, I mean,
good stuff.
Like I said, man, thanks for being on the show. Hopefully you had a good time.
No, thank you guys so much. It really was great.
Awesome. And Rob, anything real quick you wanted to do a shout out for?
No, I mean, as always, you can check out theworkprint.com. I mean, we're a site that doesn't cater just to video games. We do all pop culture. We have TV, movies. I handle the majority of the video game stuff, and I try to bring on new talent, as Jamie is an example of, to do reviews and stuff like that.
I don't know about talent,
quote, talent.
right. Listen, I'm being 100% honest. I thought his Splatoon review was fantastic. I really do. I'm actually really proud of his review. And I'm pretty consistent across all platforms. You can find me as Sunny Vice, SUNNYVICE 20, Sunny Vice 20 on Xbox Live, PSN, my Nintendo ID. I'm also at Sunny Vice 20 on Twitter, YouTube.com/Sunny Vice 20. And then, honestly, if you want to see the majority of the content I produce, you can check out theworkprint.com. Besides video game reviews and news, I also do unboxing videos of collector's editions, collector's items, and I do a monthly series called Unboxing Match, where I compare Loot Crate, Arcade Block, and then Marvel Collector's Core, 3 different subscription boxes, mystery boxes. And the latest one, I think, is my best one. The quality just keeps getting better as far as visuals are concerned. There we go. The visuals are concerned. I can't speak to the content, especially the latest one, because there was some wine involved. But I would definitely give it a shot. Check it out.
Well, hey Brant, one thing we've been doing a lot lately, you guys know we've been doing our contests. So we gave away a silver amiibo for our Nintendo episode. We actually gave away SteamWorld Dig for the Xbox One. So congratulations to Brandon Woods again on that. And this episode, we're actually doing something pretty awesome. We're going to be giving away a copy of The Last of Us for PlayStation 4. So make sure to check out our Facebook page to find out how you can snag a copy of that. But
and how'd you get that?
It kind of fell out of the sky, right?
If I remember correctly, it was provided by theworkprint.com.
Thank
That
you,
is
sir. Thank you for that.
theworkprint.com.
Well, Brant, where can people find you at, man?
I'm at Minus the Brant on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook, Josh Brant, and then Minus the Brant is my PSN profile name. So add me and play some games.
Awesome. Well, you guys can find me on Twitter at James+12. And on Twitch, I am Jamester0722, so make sure to check that out. You can also make sure to like the Life of Gaming podcast on Facebook, and we're also on Twitter at Life of Gaming Pod. Make sure to find us on iTunes. Review us on there, subscribe on there. We're also on SoundCloud and the Microsoft MP3 store. So pretty much there's a lot of places you guys can find us. We also have a YouTube channel where you can check out some awesome Let's Plays we're doing as well as this podcast. So, make sure to check us out there. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the show, and you all will have an awesome E3. So until next time, guys, we are out.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Later.